What's up, Raiders? Bionic here. Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video where we are going to talk about the ongoing event and tournament that we have right now, which is a Dungeon Divers and an Ice Golem tournament. We also have the Artifact Enhancement event. I won't really cover that today. What I want to focus on is this right here. Is it different? Have you guys noticed that this is a little bit different than the previous ones? Are they getting harder? Are they doable? Should you push? Is it worth it? So that is what I want to talk about today. The Ice Golem tournament itself, same thing. There are now 2 more levels or 2 more milestones on top of the original ones. Is this doable? Same thing on this one. I think it was a little bit longer. Instead of being 3 days, it was like 4 or 5 if I remember correctly. Maybe you guys can confirm that. I also noticed that on top of getting a Relentless sets, you also get now an Ancient Shards. So is this the new version of the tournaments? Is this what we can expect for the next Fusion or Fragment events, right? So what I'm going to show you guys is a couple of screenshots. We're going to compare this and we're going to break it down to determine if it is doable for even a free-to-play player to reach the maximum reward from this tournament. Okay, we ready? Let's do this. Let's start with the Dungeon Divers. I think this is what I have pulled up here for you guys first. Okay, so I'm going to quickly open these pictures and I'm only going to backtrack at the beginning of this year. I've shown before that compared to last year, they are quite different. They've gotten progressively harder, which is somewhat understandable. But if we look at what we have today, this little section right here maybe is the part that we can compare a little bit better, up to about 1,400 points. Okay, we used to have a 3-day XP boost, a total of 75 gems, a little bit of silver, not that much, maybe like a total of 6 brews, total of maybe plus 8 here, so 14 brews, right? Then we look at this one right here for 1,400 points. Okay, this is 4 months later on this one, and you know, not even close to having the same thing, right? Not even close to having as many gems. We don't have any extra XP boost. We have somewhat the same amount of brews. Silver, we have a little bit more, but still a 3-day XP boost is actually quite valuable, and 15 gems compared to 75 is also quite different, right? But we do have the ability to now get a legendary skill tome, epic skill tome. It used to be 2,200 points. Now we're talking about 8,000 points. Even if this is 3 days and this is 6, it's still not double, right? You're not just doubling these rewards. It's literally that much harder. Then we had other similar versions. This one is in June, if I'm not mistaken, so 2 months later-ish. Then we've got, for, again, looking at about 1,400 points. We still don't have the double XP boost for 3 days. We don't have 75 gems. We have a little bit of silver once again, a rank 3 chicken, which is alright-ish, but we also have this legendary skill tome at the end, okay? So really hard to get, not quite feasible without using a lot of gems for refreshes during that time, which means that unless you have the battle pass and you can literally go on with like almost on like infinite battles, chances are you're not going to be able to do this manually, right? Unless you're using auto clicker. I don't do that, but I mean, some people have said that they do, right? And finally, let's look at the one from today. 1,400 points here again. It's now a rank 2 chicken. We only have 2 brews. We have a little bit less silver, no double XP, but we do have, you know, again, this sort of layer here that's now 8,000 points, but pushing to 8,750 points. So yet again, a little bit harder. Okay, so here I am doing Ice Golem and, you know, just with somewhat regular energy, and this is where I've gotten so far. I missed the first 2 days. I wasn't doing it. I didn't really pay attention. I don't typically farm Ice Golem, but then when I actually looked at it, I saw the rewards and I'm like, hey, wait a second. There's a legendary skill tome at the end. So for the Dungeon Divers event, I would say this. I don't think it's quite feasible whatsoever to get there. The way you can figure out how far you can get is, let's say it's for 5 days. Calculate the amount of energy you're going to get in those 5 days. I've shown it before, but you could use this little table right here. I said about 22 hours of regeneration for a total of 440 energy. You have your daily quest, your playtime reward, that totals to 700 energy free per day. Within those 5 days, chances are you're going to get your weekly quest. Okay, so you could have a total of 700 per day, and then you could have an extra 260 for those 5 days. So if you multiply that by 5, you have like roughly 3,760 energy. And a Dungeon Divers event, for every point of energy spent, you get 0.8 points of that Dungeon Divers event. So that means that basically you're somewhere in this range, okay? By not spending, you'd make it to about the greater arcane potions. I mean, it's better than nothing. It's certainly not as good as it was, but that is what you can expect. When you do the tournaments, you have to assume if you're doing level 20, obviously not everybody's doing level 20, you would get 1.1 point per energy spent for the tournament. Okay, so at 3,760 energy, you would get roughly to this point, the epic skill tome, okay, over 5 days. Again, this one was a little bit longer. Not too bad, right? But obviously I'm not factoring in your daily quests to like the campaign 7 battles. I'm also not factoring in the campaign bosses or whatever. You might have something a little bit more important to do on those days, so you're not actually gonna push for Ice Golem all the way to the end. But all that being said, it's actually not that bad. If you have 5 days to complete this, then you can spend some gems to get the legendary skill tomes. But just how many gems? How many is it worth to spend to get the legendary tome? Okay, so if we make or do the difference, it's about 1,000 energy that we would need extra to do this, which means about like 7-8 refills roughly, right? And if we multiply that by the amount of gems, we're looking at roughly what is it, like 300 gems, maybe a little bit more, 340 gems total to purchase, okay, to purchase a legendary skill tome. That's actually a decent deal. I've shown this before, but like base value for a legendary tome, it's about $35, or it used to be. But nowadays, they're putting out these packs where they're super cheap, okay? So even at 1,000 gems, I think it's overpaying for a legendary skill tome. But I just showed you guys that if you push on that Ice Golem tournament, you're in fact paying closer to about 340 gems for a legendary skill tome. Let's say you're not perfect, you have a couple more things to do. It goes all the way up to 500 gems. I think it's still a decent deal, assuming you only want to buy it with your hard-earned gems, right? And you're not actually purchasing the packs. I've seen one today. It's actually really solid. I mean, if I were to spend, this is actually pretty solid. Remember, I just showed you guys that $35 was the base price for a legendary skill tome when I first did this spreadsheet. Now, they're selling literally for $14 one legendary tome and 2 epics, okay? So this is actually pretty good. Every once in a while, like, you know, I would be tempted to buy things like that. Maybe you guys are. I'm not saying to spend, but I'm also saying to pay attention to this, right? Because it's of great value, almost better value than trying to push in the Ice Golem tournament to get it. If you're a free-to-play player like myself, though, this is what you do. This is the strategy that I use. I'm going to see if I can make it to the end. Obviously, I'm literally very late in this tournament, therefore not going to be anywhere close to doing this. But I might be tempted to spend more gems in order to get this legendary tome anyway, right? So that's basically it. Okay, guys, they're getting somewhat harder, but the time frame to do them has increased also a little bit, and I like the fact that they're adding this on top. It means that every tournament is worth to try and complete now. Okay, so if we get more of these, I think this is going to be a good thing. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys later.